Hey everybody, it's Tuesday morning. I just got down here and got the lights turned on. I'm getting ready to leave and go get some work done. And I wanted to get this on video real quick because I thought I'd lost all my crayfish in this tank. And there's one right there in front of us. When I flipped the lights on this morning, it was inside of this little cave right here. And it came darting out of there backwards like something had startled it. Now, that could have been the light, but I find that a little unusual. Crayfish don't get startled and dart into the light, and that's what he did. Now, they also move reflexively, and when they get startled or panic, they flick their tail, and when they flick their tail, the only thing they can do is shoot backwards very quickly. So it's possible that when the lights came on, he just reacted in a startled way, in a sort of knee-jerk reaction, so to speak, and that would have propelled him backwards. I got the impression, however, that when the lights came on, it startled somebody in the cave that in turn startled him out. Otherwise, why would he have come out of the cave fully and still be staying out here? So it's entirely possible that back in there is another crayfish. And now that I'm looking, I can see movement back in there, but I cannot tell whether it's another fish or it is a crayfish. So something's back there. I just don't know what. So I don't have time today to... Oh, look at this. Did you see that movement right back in there? That is another crayfish. And I saw that one, so I know that's a crayfish back there. So we've still got two left in the tank. At least two, possibly more. There he is. He's cleaning house. He's bringing armloads of gravel up and out of the cave, and he's burrowing himself out his nest or his home or whatever. So that's kind of exciting. This is a good wake-up morning for the native tank. Yesterday, I shot the opening sequence of a video that I'm going to finish up today when I get home from work. I got some mineral stones for this tank. I'm not really sure what they are, how they work, but apparently they're for shrimp and crayfish, and they're for the purposes of making sure their shells stay nice and healthy. All the little pictures you saw were of the small shrimp tanks where these little stones pretty much comprised the entire substrate. It wasn't like this was added to gravel. The substrate in the tank seemed to be made of this stuff. So I'm obviously not going to do that with it. I don't have enough. I only got 1 kilo, so I've only got 2.2 pounds of it. That will not cover, a 125-gallon tank. But I am going to put it in there, and I'm going to leave it on the surface. A lot of my viewers have been suggesting putting various things in my canister filter and simply letting it dissolve into the water that way. That is a good idea if I wanted to keep it out of sight. But in this case, this stuff almost acts like a salt lick or a mineral lick where the animals themselves can go right up to the little gravel and munch on it. So I want the stuff in the tank physically so that the crayfish have access to it, and that should keep them nice and healthy for me. But as I said, I'm surprised to see that I have 2, and now we've got number 3. It really seems strange to me that we're suddenly seeing all this activity where for months these crayfish have just been invisible. I've not seen them in this tank at all. I thought they had all died off. So back to my theory about hibernation. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I've had some viewers suggest that they don't actually hibernate. Technically, they go into some state that's very similar to hibernation, but they are still conscious. They're not asleep. I've always believed, and I've had other viewers suggest, that they actually burrow themselves in the mud and go dormant until the weather warms up. That's what I've always believed. So if that is the case, and perhaps they're going dormant simply because of the time cycle rather than the temperature of the water, that could be what we're seeing, is now that it's springtime, even though the temperature of the tank has remained constant, enough time has gone by that they're now beginning to emerge from their whatever it was they were doing. Laying low, we'll call it, for the winter. They were just chilling out. And so now it is springtime, and boom, we've got 3 of them visible today, and I've lost 2 that I know of in the last couple of days. So that was apparently 5 crayfish in here that I thought were not even in here. That's how inactive they've been over the entire winter. I've had 5 crayfish in this tank that I didn't even know about. Now, as of yesterday, the last dead crayfish that was in there, I saw it, and it was definitely dead yesterday afternoon. No muscle tone or anything. Its legs were just flopping around when I need to move that rock. The bubbles, the T-bar back there in the corner keeps kicking the gravel over it, and now the bubbles are barely even coming up through the gravel. But when the bubbles were hitting one of the legs of the crayfish, it was just moving around with no resistance at all. So it was clearly a dead crayfish, and then within a few hours its insides had been hollowed out, and it was just a carapace of a crayfish. And I left that alone, and now that's even gone. So it's entirely possible that those other crayfish that we've been seeing out and about came out and devoured that dead crayfish, and then subsequently devoured its shell, which I hope is the case, because if they devoured the crayfish's shell, they will get all of the calcium and minerals and everything that, you know, you need to make up a shell. What better source of getting shell material than eating a shell? So hopefully that's what happened to that dead one. That's kind of why I was leaving it in the tank. I was hoping that it would just be a food source and it wouldn't sit in the tank and start to rot and stink. And I was right. Pretty much overnight it's now gone. And that lets me have a little more hope that we're going to get some more activity from these crayfish and they're going to be a little healthier. So make sure you're subscribed. I will get to doing that other video. We're going to add those rocks and stuff, or that mineral stone. Again, last night I had some company stop by, and I wound up, by the time they left, it was after 9 o'clock, and I wasn't about to get started on a big water change and project and all that late at night. So when I get home from work today, I will be doing that. I also think I want to tinker with the lighting in this tank too. This flickering you're seeing is partially because of the way you can see the LED here on the right makes that nice sparkly effect. But if you see that weird sort of flashing and pulsing in the middle, that unit is going bad on me. Eventually it'll sort itself out and it'll kind of come on and stay on, but it's really dim when it finally does. And if we notice this light on the left here flickering, that's looking pretty dim too. I've got 3 of these little inexpensive LED units just sitting up here, and you can very clearly now see that one in the center is flashing like a strobe light. So time for that to go. I don't know what else I'm going to do. I really do want to change up the lighting on this tank and do some of that inexpensive LED lighting that I've discovered recently, but I don't know if that's going to happen just yet, or when, or whatever. So again, make sure you're subscribed, and that way you won't miss any of that. And don't forget, this one of course is my 125-gallon native tank. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you real soon on the next one.